Make sure there's no glitch. Hold on 1 second there, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, sir. Hold on. Hold on. All right. Okay. There we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Hold on 1 second. Let me just fix this up over here. Boom. Get this going on right there. All right. All right. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. All right. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. There we are. Okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Happy Taco Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Taco Tuesday. I'm just keeping an eye on AIXI. AIXI, which ran up a nice 356% right there. 356%. Yes, sir. Let's make sure we are live on the X. We'll be live on the X. Let's make sure. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, there we go. Let's take a look at the Twitch. Let's make sure we are live. Yes, sir. All right. We are live on the Twitch. All right. Let's see what else we got going on. All right. Let's take a look at Facebook. Let's see how Facebook is looking. All right. There we are. Audio's working. All right. Let's make sure we got TikTok. TikTok. All right. Beautiful. Okay. All set there. Everything's looking good. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Tuesday. We're taking a look over here at AIXI. AIXI, we actually called the stock earlier in the morning, AIXI. All right, AIXI, we called the stock. This stock yesterday and this morning. Legal says good morning, Doubles. Good morning, Legal. Good morning. AIXI, we actually called the stock yesterday and this morning prior to its run. Up 356%. There we go. We actually called the stock this morning at 4:03 a.m. prior to its run, up 356%. Yes, sir. There we go. Marty says, good morning, Doubles and Banger Nation. Good morning, Marty. Hope you're having a wonderful day, brother man. Hope you're having a wonderful day. All right, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So, yes, we actually called the stock prior to its run, ladies and gents. Call it prior to its run. All right. All right. Yeah. All right. All right. So, that's what we got going on right there. Let's take a look over here. All right. AIXI. Needs to break the pennant over here. Alright, needs to break the pennant over here right there for it to be somewhat schmexy to meow. There we go. Right there. Alright, hold on 1 second. 1 second. Alright. Alright, AIXI needs to break the pennant and the, let's get some support and resistance lines right over here for this stock. Needs to break above $1.58 and the $1.58 resistance line. Needs to break the pennant and the $1.58 resistance line for it to be somewhat schmexy to meow. Alright, alright, alright. Okay. Alright, alright, alright. Alright, let's put this over here. Alright. So that's AIXI, AIXI. Alright. So that's what we got going on right there. That is what we got going on right there. So it has a couple of levels it has to break. It has to break above 158, 184, 216, and the high day at 269 for it to be schmexy to meow. Otherwise, it's just eh. There we go. There we go. Let's take a look at DAIC. DAIC, that is another stock that we got going on right there. Alright. DAIC has a bit of a pennant going on. Has a bit of a pennant going on right here. Alright. Actually has a bit of a descending wedge that it formed over here. Alright, then it started curling up a little bit off that descending wedge right there. It started curling up and breaking towards the VWAP right there. Actually, let me just put this over here. Boom, right there. Needs to break above the VWAP at $3.45. $3.45 right there. DAIC. Alright. So that's what we got going on. DAIC on the uptrend off of a descending wedge. Had some unconfirmed Q2 earnings due in 14 days from now on Tuesday, September 8th after the market closed. So you got that going on right there. That is what we got going on. Now DAIC, hold on ladies and gentlemen. Hold on ladies and gentlemen. We actually called DAIC a while ago. Yeah, we've been calling it since yesterday. Right? And then we also called it earlier today at 4:01 a.m. Eastern Standard Time prior to that run up 128% right there. So, DAIC, we called this stock on the private Discord at 4:01 a.m. Eastern Standard Time as well as yesterday. Actually, hold on the private Discord yesterday and this morning at 4:01 a.m. Eastern Standard Time prior to its run up 128% right there. Prior to that run up 128%. There we go. So we got that going on right there. That's DAIC, DAIC, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. There we go. Alright, alright, alright. So, let's take a look over here. DAIC. Curled off the descending wedge and broke the VWAP. Broke the VWAP at $3.45. All right. Let's get some support and resistance lines over here. All right. Needs to break above the resistance line over here at $3.77. Broke one resistance line already there, and needs to break the next resistance line at $3.77. $3 actually needs to break 3.56 now. Needs to break and hold above the resistance line at $3.56. 3.56 for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. There we go. There we go. That's DAIC right there. DAIC. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. Let's see here. Boom. Let's get that going on right there. Bop. Right there. All right. All right. All right. All right. So that's what we got going on, folks. That's what we got going on. Hold on. Let's get the announcements out over here. Let's get the announcements out over here. All right. So that's DAIC right now. Has to break above $3.56 and has to hold above that. And then has to break above 377. And then finally, the high a day at 409 for it to really be schmexy to mya. There we go. There we go. All right. All right. All right. Hold on one second. One sec. All right. All right. There we are. There we are. All right. Okay, there we go. Just getting all the announcements out, ladies and gentlemen. All right. But how's everybody's Taco Tuesday going? Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Hope you guys are making lots of money. Money, 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 money. Money! All right. Let's see here. Yeesh. All right. There we go. There we go. All right. There we are, ladies and gentlemen. There we are. There we are. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get a share party going, by the way. Let's get to 200. 200, 200, 200. Just got to get everything all set up over here. Boom. All right. Hold on one sec. There we are. There we go. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. Hold on, hold on, hold on. All right. All right. Okay, good and good. All right. There we go, there we go, there we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Let me just put this over here. We should be good. Yep, let's get that share party going. Let's get that share party going. All right, all right. All right. There we are. There we are. Good, good. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, yeah, that's pretty much what we got going on for DAIC. As of now, it has to hold above 356, has to break above 377, all right, because it just broke that resistance. It broke that resistance once again. Needs to break above 377 and hold above $3.56. $3.56 for it to be somewhat schmexy to meow. All right. So let's put this over here. DAIC broke the $3.56 resistance line. Needs volume to break the next resistance at 377. Can it break? We shall see what happens. We shall see, we shall see. Alright, alright, alright. Let's see, let's see, let's see. Alright. Alright. So that's what we got going on for that one. Let's take a look at another stock over here. TNMG. TNMG. Let's take a look over here. TNMG, this is a Japanese stock, up 44% as of now. Let's take a look over here. Let me actually get rid of all this old artwork over here, and let's get this over here going on. It shot up like a rocket, proceeded to form a bit of a descending wedge right over here. Needs to break that VWAP at 68 cents for it to be somewhat schmexy to meow. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, so that's what we got going on right there. TNMG. All right, TNMG. Needs to break the descending wedge. And the VWAP at 68 cents. 68 cents for it to be somewhat schmexy to meow. That's what it has to do right there. That is what it has to do. That's TNMG. TNMG. There we go. Alright, alright, alright. Alright. Can it break the VWAP? We shall see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. We shall see what happens. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Needs to break that VWAP, ladies and gentlemen. That's what it needs to do right there for it to be somewhat schmexy to meow. Let's get a share party going. Let's get the 300. 300, 300, 300. Kingpin says taco. Yes, sir. Kingpin, how you doing, brother? Happy Taco Tuesday to you. Happy Taco Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Taco Tuesday. Let's take a look over here. Let's take a look at another stock right here. OFAL. This one has a 938,000 float, 48 million volume. So that's OFAL. OFAL. All right. Now, OFAL did have some interesting movement over here. It did move up nicely, pulled back just a little bit, formed a bit of a descending wedge before curling its way back up again. And then this time going and hitting a bit of a downtrend over here. So that's what it's got going on right there. It needs to break this little downtrend and needs to break above this VWAP at $1.30 right here for it to be somewhat schmexy to meow. That's OFAL. OFAL. OFAL needs volume to break the downtrend and the Nick on Facebook says, good morning, Double Nicks. Good morning, Nick. All right. OFAL needs to break the downtrend, and, of course, the VWAP at $1.30. $1.30 for it to be somewhat schmexy to meow. Can it break the downtrend and VWAP? We shall see what happens. We shall see, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. All right. Kingpin says FNGR makes me giggle. I can only imagine what these folks do. That is not, as far as I'm concerned, that ain't none of my business. Amen. That ain't none of my business. That what they do with a ticket like that ain't none of my business. Bobo Beep says howdy Bobo. He says here in Ulima Charlie. Copy that, Bobo. Bobo Beep says what's up to Marty? Yes sir. The Banger Nation has assembled. The Banger Nation is assembling. Yes sir. All right. Let's see here. Let's see what else we got going on, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, and by the way, ladies and gents, before we continue, be sure to check out our free Discord, and be sure to check out our exclusive Discord, free Discord exclusive live streams, which we got going on sometimes. We normally have live streams that go on the free Discord. We got all sorts of other stuff. We got, of course, some free alerts and daily reviews that we got going on that free Discord, so be sure to check that out, ladies and gentlemen.
Live streams too.
And of course the free Discord exclusive live stream, we got all that good stuff going on. Watch list live streams, all sorts of cool stuff. What?
A lot of stuff.
Yeah, a lot of stuff. Yeah. So we got all that going on, ladies and gentlemen. We got all that going on. Hello Banger Nation on TikTok. So yeah, be sure to check that out. Join that free Discord, get your free roll, and come see it live. And of course, it is basically just a little bit of a teaser, a little bit of a like a sample of the actual 4-day trial. So if you want the actual premium stuff, you want the whole buffet instead of just a little bit.
Make that easy for you too.
Hey, there you go. We make that easy for you too. Be sure to get the 4-day trial for only $9.99 for the real-time alerts and scanners. All right, and you get everything. You get the scanners, you get the full package right there. You get everything. All right, so you know the free stuff is basically just like a little. It's a little teaser. It's a little teaser for the actual 4-day trial, which has a lot more stuff in it. There's a lot of cool stuff there, so be sure to check it out. Only $9.99 for the first 4 days. Be sure to check it out, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Link to join that is in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section, so be sure to check that out, because we pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We're just made different, and the early bird gets the cash. And DAIC just now, DAIC looks like it's trying to curl a little bit, so let's see what's going on here. What's going on? DAIC curling up a little bit, broke that $3.77 resistance line, and is moving right towards $4.09 right there. $4.09. Oh, and ladies and gentlemen, before I continue, be sure to check out our merch as well. We got merch. We got all sorts of cool stuff there. Be sure to rep the Banger Nation by checking out that merchandising that we got going on. We got all sorts of cool stuff. We got t-shirts, we got hoodies, we got hats, we got cup and handles, aka the mugs. We have our wonderful, what's it called, tumblers, and we got mouse pads, we got stickers, we got all sorts of cool stuff. So ladies and gentlemen, be sure to check it out. Be sure to check it out and get some merch and rep the Banger Nation. Yes, sir. All right, let's continue on. Bobo Beef says, finger motion. Yeah. Hey, look, like I said before, that ain't none of my business what they do. Anyway, that ain't none of my business. Anyways, DAIC hitting a new high, $1.31 right there.
Give them the finger.
Moving. Give them the. Oh, hey, yo, what you mean by that?
FNGR.
What you mean by that?
FNGR.
FNG. Okay, all right, there we go. I was about to say, whoo. All right. Yeah, all right. DAIC broke the $3.77 mark. DAIC now up 131%. Broke the $3.77 resistance line. Oh my, it's now up 140%. And the high a day at $4.09. Hit 140% right there. 140%. Broke the $3.77 resistance line and the high a day at $4.09. Alright. Needs to break the new high a day. The new high a day at $4.18. Parabolic.
Cha-cha-cha.
Can it go higher?
Can you take me higher?
Yes.
Like that, Doubles.
Yes.
Like that, Doubles.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. All right. All right. All right. 1 second. Let me put this over here. DAIC shot up and is going parabolic up. It went parabolic up 140%. All right. Hit that 377 resistance, that $4.09 high a day. Now it's got that new high day at $4.18. So can it break again with some volume? Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. That's what we got going on, folks. That is what we got going on. All right. Let's put this over here. Let's put this over here. Woo! There we are, ladies and gentlemen. There we are. All right, let's get a share party going. Let's get the 500. 500, 500, 500. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Because that was kind of a thing of beauty right there. Woo! All right. Let's take a look over here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. All right. Okay. So, let's see what else we got going on here. All right. We're going to take a look at TNMG again. TNMG still needs to break that descending wedge and still needs to break that 68-cent mark right there. TNMG still needs to break the descending wedge and the VWAP at 68 cents. Can it curl? All right, all right, all right. All right, let's see what we got going on there. All right, just putting this up here. Boop, right there. All right, let's take a look at OFAL. OFAL, ladies and gentlemen, OFAL. All right, OFAL looks like it's consolidating below the VWAP. It's sort of broke that little downtrend just a little bit and is now consolidating below the VWAP. So it needs to break the VWAP still. All right, but it did sort of break the downtrend a little bit, so we'll see what happens there. All right, OFAL broke the downtrend, but is now consolidated below the VWAP. Needs volume to break the VWAP at $1.30 for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. Can it curl up and break the VWAP. Let's see. We shall see, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. All right, all right, all right. Let's see what we got going on here. All right. There we go. There we go. All right. Let's take a look at SWVL. SWVL. All right. This one has a 5 million float, 41 million volume. Swivel Holdings Corp. This is a, I believe, UAE stock right here. All right, up 62%. Swivel Holdings shares are trading higher after the company announced a $13 million strategic investment round. So they have that going on. They have some unconfirmed H1 earnings due in 14 days from now on September 8th before the market moves or the market opens. So we got that going on right there. All right, but as of now, let's take a look at the stock. All right, as of now, it shot up all the way over here and then fell all the way down over here, forming a bit of a descending wedge before curling up slightly over here. All right, needs to now break the $2.65 mark for it to be somewhat schmexy to meow. All right, now that's pretty much what we got going on for SWVL. SWVL formed a descending wedge, needs volume to break the, all right, but it is curling up, excuse me, actually curling up off the VWAP, needs, curling up off the descending wedge, excuse me, descending wedge, it needs to break the VWAP, needs to break the VWAP at $2.65. Can it continue the climb off the descending wedge and break the VWAP? We shall see, ladies and gentlemen. That's SWVL. SWVL. We'll take a look and see, ladies and gentlemen. We shall see, we shall see. All right. All right, all right, all right. Boom. There we are, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. All right, all right, all right. Woo. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. I had to stretch out the old spine. I made the crick, 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 crick. There we go. SWVL now up 61% and climbing towards $2.64 right there, which is the VWAP right now. We'll see what happens. We shall see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. All right, there we go. Let's get a share party going on. Let's get to 600, 600, 600, 600. Let's get it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get to 600. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. All right, all right, all right. So that's what we got going on over here, ladies and gents. That's what we got going on over here. All right. Let's take a look at TNMG. 2 million float, 98 million volume. TNMG. All right. Again, still needs to break that descending wedge. Hasn't really done much movement over here, so we'll see what happens with it. All right, let's take a look at another stock right over here. Give me 1 second, 1 second. Got some requests over here, actually. Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. All right. All right, someone requested DAIC. Again, DAIC we've been calling since yesterday as well as at 4:01 a.m. Eastern Standard Time prior to its run up 140% now. 140%. There we go. All right. Has a new high that it has to break. All right. It actually pulled back just a little bit and now needs to break the resistance at $3.90 and actually also $3.67 as well. So let's see what we got going on here. DAIC as of now. All right. DAIC. All right. Needs volume to break the, all right, DIC pulled back just a little bit, pulled back, and needs volume to curl and break resistance at $3.90 and the new high a day at $4.27 right there. So that's what they got going on right there. That is what they got going on. All right. Can it curl and break the resistance lines? We shall see. We shall see. All right. All right. All right. All right. We shall see, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, that's what we got going on for DAIC. I want to see if it can break above that $3.90 mark, and I want to see it break above that $4.27 mark, which is the high day, for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. So we shall see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. We shall see what happens. All right, all right, all right. All right. AIXI, AIXI. Let's take a look over here. Looks like he's trying to curl off the pennant a little bit right now. Needs to break that resistance line at $1.58. But AIXI looks like he's trying to curl a little bit. AIXI. AIXI trying to curl off the pennant. Needs volume to break the resistance at $1.58. Can it break the resistance line? Let's see what happens there. We shall see. We shall see. All right, all right, all right. Let's see what we got going on, folks. Let's see what we got going on right here. All right. Let's see here. Let's see here. Let's see here. All right. There we go. There we go. There we go. Needs to break above $1.58. $1.58. All right. Next up is, all right. How about DFNS? 780,000 float, 6 million volume. DFNS. Let's take a look over here. Up 40% as of now, but needs to break this downtrend right here. Needs to break the downtrend right over here for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. DFNS. DFNS. Needs volume to break the downtrend and the VWAP at $18.58. Expensive. Can it break the downtrend and VWAP? We shall see what happens. We shall see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. All right, all right, all right. Let's see what we got going on. What we got going on right there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. I don't even want to know what they're doing with FNGR. All right, let's see what we got going on right there. All right, all right, all right. All right. There we go. There we go. Hold on 1 second. All right. Kingpin says, I guess FNGR hit the climb. Stop. Stop it. Bad. Bad Kingpin. No. Bad. Bad. This is family friendly. Bad. No. Alright. Anyways. Stop it. Anyways. Alright. JEM has a 574,000 float. 3 million volume right there. That's JEM. Let's take a look over here, see what we got going on. Let's see what we got going on. All right, curling off the downtrend right here. Needs to break above the resistance line right over here, which is basically the VWAP at $5.65. Looks like it's trying to curl. Had a bit of a sort of descending wedge right over here. Had a little bit of a descending wedge right over here. But we'll see what happens there, ladies and gentlemen. Needs to break above that descending wedge, which it did, and is now trying to curl, but needs to break that VWAP right there. So, as of now, JEM, all right, curling off the descending wedge, needs volume to break the VWAP at $5.65. Can it break? We shall see what happens there. We shall see what happens. That's JEM right there. Again, trying to curl off the descending wedge. Needs to break that 565 mark for it to be somewhat schmexy to meow. We shall see. We shall see. All right. All right, all right, all right, right there. That's what we got going on, folks. That is what we got going on. All right. That's JEM. All right, let's get a share party going. Let's get to 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. Let's get it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get it. Let's get it to 1,000 right there. DFNS. All right. Actually, hold on. We already did DFNS. So let's take a look over here. Someone requested AIXI. We're going to take a look over here. AIXI, still a bit consolidated. Still needs to break $1.58. We're going to move on from that, actually. We are going to move on from that. Give me 1 second, because we already talked about this one already. So we're going to take a look at another one over here. All right. All right. All right. So that's what we got going on right there. That is what we got going on. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. All right. Let's see what other requests we got going on here. And ladies and gentlemen, if you have any requests, put it in the chat. Put it in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. Put it in the chat. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. We already took a look at AIXI, DAIC. A lot of the requests that we have here for like DAIC and AIXI, we already did those. You know what I mean? We already did those, so meh. What's with GPUS all of a sudden? I don't trust this one. 61 million float, 1 million volume, and it's moving up like that? Nope. Nope. All right. All right. Well, let's take a look at the other stocks here. Let's see what other stocks we got going on. All right. So, in the meantime, we're going to take a look at SWVL, see how SWVL is holding up. SWVL getting closer towards that VWAP right there. SWVL. SWVL curling off the descending wedge and curling up towards the VWAP at 261. Can it break? It's getting closer though, ladies and gentlemen. It is getting a little bit closer. I will give it that. It's getting a little closer to that VWAP. And the VWAP's also sort of getting closer to it. So we'll see what happens there. We shall see what happens with SWVL. SWVL. Alright. We shall see what happens. Alright. Let's get a share party going on. Let's get to the 900 mark. 900. Then we get to 1,000 right there. 1,000. TNMG, how's it doing right there? Let's take a look. TNMG still on a bit of a descending wedge right there. Still needs to break 67 cents right there for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. TNMG needs to break the descending wedge and the VWAPA at 67 cents. Right there. For it to be somewhat schmexy to me. There we go. Alright. Can it break the descending wedge and the VWAP? Alright. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what we got going on right there. That is what we got going on. Alright. So, that's what we're keeping an eye on right there. Let's get a share party going. Let's get to 1,000. 1,000. Alright. So, DAIC is now pulling back just a little bit. JEM, how's it holding up? How's JEM looking? JEM still trying to curl up towards that VWAP right there. Still trying to curl up towards that VWAP. That's JEM. Still trying to curl towards the VWAPA. Needs to break the VWAP at 565. Can it break? Hello, consistency. He asked for FRMI. We'll take a look at it. We shall take a look at it. Brother man. We shall. Consistency Spike asks for FRMI. We're going to take a look at that in just a second. Let me just finish up JEM, and we'll take a look at that for you. All right, JEM still trying to curl higher a little bit. The VWAP is at $55.65, and it needs volume to push through and reclaim that. And we're wondering, can it break through? We shall see, ladies and gentlemen. We shall see. All right, we're going to take a look at FRMI. If anybody has any other stocks that wants to take a look at, put it in the chat. Let's take a look at FRMI. All right, so FRMI. Going to put this up over here. Has a little bit of some chop going on right over here. All right, a lot of indecisive wicks over here and some more indecisive wicks over here. Needs to break those indecisive wicks for it to be somewhat schmexy to meow. Alright, there we go. There we go. Alright, FRMI needs to break those choppy price actions as well as the indecisive wicks for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. Let's take a look at the float. Float is 488 million and change. Volume is 149,000. So it has a heavy float, light volume right there. That's FRMI. So FRMI as of now. Let's take a look here. FRMI, choppy price action with indecisive wicks. Alright, heavy float and light volume. Will need more volume to curl up and break the VWAP at $5.66. Alright, we'll need more volume to break that area. Alright, but it needs volume. It needs a lot of volume. Can it find the volume to curl up? Alright, we shall see. We shall see. That's FRMI. FRMI. We shall see what happens there. Alright. Alright, alright, alright. We shall see what happens there. And then consistency asks for NATR. We will take a look at NATR as well. Give me just a second. There we are. There we are. Alright, let's take a look at NATR. NATR. Alright, this is Nature's Sunshine Products. There we go. Up 1% currently. Again, has some choppy price action over here, which we'll take a look at. We'll take a look at it real quick. Alright, it does have some choppy price action right over here, as well as here, as well as here, and here, 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 and of course, there. A lot of choppiness, a lot of indecisive wicks going on there for NATR. NATR, again, choppy price action with indecisive wicks. Alright, let's take a look at the float and volume. Float is 12 million, volume is 229, so it is a heavy float with light volume. Needs more volume to curl its way on up. Alright. Can it find the volume to curl up? We shall see what happens there. We shall see what happens for NATR. NATR, again, looking choppy, has some indecisive wicks, light volume, heavy float, needs a lot of volume for it to curl higher, and we shall see. We shall see what happens there with that. Alright, it's going to need some more volume for it to be somewhat schmexy to meow. We shall take a look at that. We shall take a look at that. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get a share party going. Let's get a share party going. Alright, alright, alright. Let's get the share party going to 1100. 1100, 1100, 1100. We got 15 minutes till the bell, ladies and gentlemen. 15 minutes till the bell, ladies and gents. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Alright, consistency says thank you, Nick. Of course, brother. Take care of yourself. Alright, and if you got any more stocks you want us to take a look at, put it in the chat. Everybody, that goes for everybody. If you got any stocks you want us to take a look at, put it in the chat. Put it in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. Put it in the chat.
Just throw it in the chat.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Alright. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. All right. All right, all right, all right. Let's take a look over here. Let's take a look at AMIX, AMIX. AMIX, 7 million volume, all right, and a float of 954,000. So AMIX just broke above its pennant right here, curled its way on up and broke its pennant, all right, and needs to now break the new resistance lines. Hold on. Actually, let me see if I can. Bless you, Coach. Yeesh. All right, let me get this over here. All right, it had a high a day all the way at $9.89. So we're going to see what we got going on over there. But as of now, needs to break above $8.73 right there. Broke above the VWAP. All right, needs volume to break above the resistance line right there. So AMIX, AMIX. All right, curled up and broke the VWAP at $8.36. All right. Needs to break above $9.17. It broke above the original. All right, at $8.36. Broke that. Broke the resistance line at. All right, 873. Excuse me, 837. At $8.37 as well. Broke that. Needs to break above $8.73. Needs to break the resistance line at $8.73. Can it break the resistance and remain friends with the trend? Can it do that, ladies and gentlemen? We shall see what happens. That's AMIX, AMIX. All right. All right, all right, all right. That's AMIX right there. AMIX, boom. All right, all right, all right. So, there we are, there we are. Let's get a share party going on. Let's get a share party going. Let's get 1200, 1200, 1200, 1200. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Kingpin S for NVIDIA. Okay. NVDA. NVDA. Now, obviously, let's take a look at the float and volume. Obviously, the float is going to be heavy. It's a large cap stock. Volume is going to be light.
Great stock.
It is a great stock. All right. NVIDIA. All right. Heavy float and low volume. All right. Great stock. All right. However, it also has a conference call scheduled for tomorrow at 5 p.m. and some Q2 earnings confirmed for tomorrow on the 26th after market close. So they got that going on right there. They are up $1.33%. Excuse me, 1.33% right there. All right, shot up nicely, ladies and gentlemen. They shot up extremely nice right there. All right, let's get this going on right over here. Boom. Okay. And yeah, it has a little bit of a pennant right here. Looks like it's curling off that pennant and climbing. It broke the VWAP at $210 and change. All right, again, expensive right there. All right, formed a pennant after breaking the VWAP. All right. curling off the pennant. All right. It needs to break the high a day at $211. Needs to break the high a day at $211.51 right there. All right. That's NVDA. NVDA. We shall see. We shall see. All right. Let's put this over there, and then we'll take a look at OFAL, which is something our friend Aristocrat on X wanted us to take a look at. So we're going to take a look at that real quick. All right. NVDA. NVDA. All right. All right. All right. That's NVDA. There we go. Boom. Right there. All right. Let's take a look at OFAL. 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 Now, OFAL has been still consolidating below the VWAP. Still needs to break that VWAP at $1.29 for it to be somewhat schmexy to me, but it's still consolidated as of now. Needs to break that consolidation. Needs volume to break the consolidation. Curl up and break the VWAP for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. There we are. There we are. Sorry about that. Had to strip the back. Yes. Okay. All right. So, OFAL. OFAL. All right. Still consolidated below the VWAP at $1.29. Needs volume to curl and break the VWAP right there. So can it curl? Can it curl? We shall see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. OFAL still needs to break that VWAP at 129. So we'll see what happens there. We shall see what happens. All right, all right, all right. All right. There we are. There we are. All right. We're going to do one more stock here. We're going to do SWVL. SWVL. Let's take a look. All right. SWVL forming a little bit of an ABCD pattern. Still below the VWAP, though, so we'll have to see what happens. But can it break above that VWAP? All right. SWVL. SWVL. Forming a slight ABCD pattern after curling off the descending wedge. All right. Needs to break VWAP at 259. Testing the VWAP. Can it break the VWAP and continue the climb upwards? We shall see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. We shall see. We shall see. All right. All right, all right, all right. So, that's pretty much it for me, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as well as ring that bell icon to stay notified when new videos are uploaded. And remember to share, because sharing is caring, ladies and gentlemen. Sharing is caring. And, of course, if you want access to our private Discord, link to join us in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section, so be sure to check that out. We pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We're just made different, and the early bird gets the cash, the moolah, the loot, the cash, all of the big bucks, I tell you. And, of course, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to follow us on our YouTube channel at CoachNickMoney. At CoachNickMoney. Be sure to follow us on X.com, a.k.a. Twitter, at CoachNickMoney. at CoachNickMoney. Be sure to check us out on our Twitch at CoachNickMoney. At CoachNickMoney. Be sure to check us out on our Facebook, Instagram, and Threads at CoachNickMoney. At CoachNickMoney. And be sure to check us out on our TikTok, Tiki-Taki, a.k.a. the Tac Tac. The Tac Tac. You can find us there at DBL Nicks. At DBL NICKS, and the screen name is Coach Nick Money. Money. Yes. So that's what we got going on, folks. That is what we got going on. Be sure to check out our free Discord as well. Be sure to check that out. Click the link in the description down below as well as the pinned comment section and get your free roll so you can basically get exclusive access to the exclusive live stream. You get access to exclusive alerts and, of course, our little reviews that we got going on there as well. So be sure to check all that cool stuff out, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to check that out. And if you want the 4-day trial for the real-time alerts and scanners for only $9.99, link to join us in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section. So be sure to check that out because we pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We're just made different, and the early bird gets the cash, the moolah, the loot's the cash, the big bucks, I tell you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to check out our merch. We got all sorts of cool things from t-shirts to hoodies to hats to mugs, aka the cup and handles, to tumblers to mouse pads and stickers and all sorts of other cool stuff. So be sure to check it out, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to check it out. Again, link to join us in the description down below as well as the pinned comment section. So be sure to check that out. And yeah, that's what we got going on right there. That is what we got going on. All right. So be sure to also stay tuned for our 1:30 p.m. show, Power Play, hosted by the legend himself, Coach Nick Money, as he traverses the stock market prior to the Power Hour. And what he likes to do is he likes to basically let the stock simmer on high heat with a little bit of paprika, a little bit of sazon, a little bit of cumin, a little bit of turmeric, a little bit of tagine, all that good stuff right there. And yeah, he basically just likes to let the stock simmer after giving him his honest review and analysis prior to the Power Hour. And while he does that, he likes to secure some dubs for the community at Fortnite. That's what he likes to do right there, secure some dubs for the community. So yeah, that's pretty much what he likes to do right there. So yeah, be sure to check him out at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, quick thing before we wrap up. If you guys have been watching and you're serious about small caps, don't just sit on the outside trying to piece it together. We've already got a 4-day full access pass for only $9.99, and it's full access. So you come inside, you get to see how we actually operate live. You get to see how we structure trade ideas, how we map levels, how we think about risk, how we handle momentum. You get access to the next day early watch list, as well as the 24/7 market news flow, which is on the right-hand side of the screen here, complete with hyperlinks. So all you have to do is click on the little hyperlink, and you get all your due diligence at the touch of a button right there. All right, and of course, it has pre-market regular hours and after-hours scanners with float, volume, catalyst context built right in, as well as hyperlinks. So basically all you have to do for due diligence is press a button, and boom, you have all your due diligence right at the touch of a button. All right, and of course, you'll see our ticker tape built to catch stocks when they're starting to heat up. But before they go parabolic, because ladies and gentlemen, this is a noise, it's structured. If that's how you want to approach this market, grab the 4-day pass and come see it live. Link to join us in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section. When you come in, let us know you saw us on the stream. We'd love to hear from you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much it from me. Much love. Take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful day, and peace out. I'll see you guys at 1:30 p.m. for Power.